Most people with heavy, tired legs follow the exact same pattern. You notice your legs feel drained by afternoon. You assume it's just age, you buy compression socks, maybe you try an iron supplement. Nothing changes. The heaviness gets worse. Now it's there in the morning too. You start avoiding stairs, you stop walking as much, and the legs get heavier still. That is not normal aging. That is what happens when your body is sending a clear signal and everyone around you, including most doctors, is reading it wrong. Here's what almost nobody tells you. Heavy, tired legs after 50 are not a muscle problem. They are not a circulation problem in the way most people mean it. They are a venous return failure, a breakdown in the system that moves blood back up from your legs to your heart. And that system has specific addressable weak points. When you understand exactly where it is failing, you can do something real about it, not manage it. Actually fix the underlying mechanics. If this kind of clear, science-backed health information is useful to you, subscribe and hit like. It helps more people find this channel. The goal is 200,000 subscribers, and you are part of making that happen. Chapter 1. What's actually happening in your legs? Let's start with the physics. Your heart pumps blood downward through your arteries. Gravity assists. That part is effortless. Getting blood back up from your feet to your heart is the hard part. In the average adult, that is a vertical climb of roughly 4 to 4.5 feet. Against gravity, every single minute of every single day. Your heart has no direct role in that return trip. The job belongs to two systems working together. Your leg veins, specifically the one-way valves inside them, and your leg muscles. Every time your calf muscle contracts, it squeezes the vein like a hand squeezing a tube of toothpaste. Blood gets pushed upward. The valve snaps shut behind it so blood cannot fall back. Muscle relaxes, vein refills. Next contraction sends it higher. That is the venous pump. That is what keeps your legs from feeling like dead weight at the end of the day. When that pump underperforms, for any one of several specific reasons, blood begins to pool. Pressure builds inside the veins. Fluid leaks into surrounding tissue. Legs swell. Legs ache. Legs feel like they are filled with wet concrete. That feeling has a name: chronic venous insufficiency. And after 50, 3 specific things begin to accelerate it. Chapter 2. The 3 real reasons your legs are failing. After 50, reason 1, your muscle pump is losing power. After 50, muscle mass declines at a rate of roughly 1 to 2% per year. This process is called sarcopenia, and most people have never heard of it. Here is why it matters directly for your legs. The calf muscle is the primary engine of venous return. It is sometimes called the peripheral heart. Every contraction drives a pump stroke. Weaker muscle means weaker contractions. Weaker contractions mean less blood moved per stroke. Less blood moved per stroke means more pooling, more pressure, more heaviness. This is not metaphor. This is direct mechanical cause and effect, and it gets compounded by something most people do not think about: sitting. 8 hours at a desk means 8 hours with the venous pump essentially switched off. The muscle is not contracting. Blood is not moving. Pressure is building in every vein from your ankle to your groin. By 3 p.m., your legs feel like they belong to someone twice your age. That is not tiredness. That is hydraulic failure. Reason 2, your vein walls are structurally weakening. Vein walls are made of collagen and elastin, the same proteins that give skin its firmness and elasticity. After 50, 2 things happen simultaneously. First, collagen production slows. The walls become thinner, less elastic, more prone to stretching under pressure. A vein that once held its shape under load begins to bulge slightly. The valve inside it no longer closes completely. Blood begins to reflux downward between pump strokes. Second, vitamin D levels drop, and this matters more than most people realize. Vitamin D is directly involved in collagen synthesis. Without adequate vitamin D, the body cannot produce the structural proteins that keep vessel walls resilient. A blood test for 25-hydroxyvitamin D is the only way to know your level. The optimal range is 50 to 100 nanomoles per liter. The majority of adults over 50, particularly in northern climates from October through April, fall well below that threshold. Low vitamin D, weaker vein walls, more pooling, more heaviness, more pain. This is a correctable deficiency, but it will not correct itself. Reason 3, hidden abdominal pressure is blocking drainage. This is the part almost no one talks about. and it is often the reason why legs stay heavy even in people who exercise regularly and stay hydrated. Here is the anatomy that most explanations leave out. The veins in your legs do not drain directly into your heart. They travel upward through your pelvis, merge into the iliac veins, then into the inferior vena cava, the largest vein in your body, which runs alongside your abdominal aorta, passes the intestines, travels behind the liver, and finally empties into the right side of your heart. That is a long route. And along that route, there are specific points where external pressure can partially block the flow. A chronically bloated bowel presses on the iliac vessels in the pelvis. A congested or enlarged liver creates resistance in the inferior vena cava. A tight, restricted diaphragm, which happens with prolonged stress, poor posture, and sedentary living, impairs the suction effect that normally assists venous return with every breath. If any one of those points is partially obstructed, pressure backs up into everything below it. No amount of calf raises overrides an upstream blockage. Heavy legs that do not respond to exercise or hydration. This is frequently why. Chapter 3. The 5-Step Recovery Plan. Each of these steps targets a specific part of the failure. Together, they work as a system. Step 1. Reactivate the muscle pump. This is the most important step and the most frequently skipped. There is a persistent myth that people with heavy or tired legs should rest more and move less. This is not just wrong. It is the opposite of what the physiology requires. Controlled rhythmic movement is not a risk. It is the treatment. Here is a 3-exercise sequence that activates the venous pump from the top of the leg to the bottom. Exercise 1, sumo squat. Feet wide apart, toes turned outward. Lower as far as comfortable. Rise back up, 10 repetitions. This engages the inner thigh and glute muscles that govern venous drainage at the pelvic level, the top of the venous highway. Exercise 2, standard squat, feet shoulder width apart. Lower to parallel, stand back up, 10 repetitions. Inhale on the way down, exhale on the way up. Holding your breath during a squat sharply raises abdominal pressure and makes leg drainage worse. Exercise 3, calf raises. Stand upright. Rise slowly onto your toes. Hold for 1 second at the top. Lower slowly. Continue until you feel a mild burn. That burn means the peripheral heart has fully fired. This sequence takes 3 to 5 minutes. Do it at least 3 times a day. If you work at a desk, stand up every hour and do the calf raises at your workstation. Walking 30 to 40 minutes daily produces measurable improvement in symptoms within 2 to 3 weeks. Step 2. Reduce blood viscosity. Thick blood moves slowly. It builds pressure. It stresses walls that are already weakening. The single most overlooked driver of blood viscosity in otherwise healthy adults is chronic mild dehydration, not severe dehydration, the low-grade kind most people carry around every single day without realizing it. The minimum for someone with venous heaviness is 30 milliliters of water per kilogram of body weight daily. If you weigh 150 pounds, roughly 68 kilograms, that is approximately 2 liters. If you weigh 175 pounds, closer to 2.5 liters. This means water. Not coffee, not tea, not juice. Water. Caffeine is a diuretic. Every cup of coffee or tea is a reason to add an extra glass of water, not a substitute for one. 2 additions worth making. Turmeric. The active compound curcumin reduces inflammation in vessel walls, inhibits platelet clumping, and improves microcirculation. Half a teaspoon added to any warm meal daily is a meaningful therapeutic amount. This is pharmacological research, not folk medicine. Ginger. The active compounds gingerols and shogaols reduce blood viscosity and have a direct anti-inflammatory effect on vessel walls. Slice fresh ginger root, pour boiling water over it, add lemon, pour into a thermos, and sip it throughout the day. Not all at once. Throughout. That keeps the concentration of active compounds in your blood stable rather than spiking and crashing. Step 3. Reduce tissue swelling. When the tissue surrounding your veins is waterlogged, it compresses the vein from the outside. Blood has a harder time moving through a compressed tube. The vein performs worse. More fluid leaks out. More swelling. More compression. It becomes a self-reinforcing loop. 3 categories of food drive tissue fluid retention, and reducing them makes a measurable difference. Sugar. 1 gram of stored glycogen holds approximately 3 grams of water. The more sugar you eat, the more water your tissues retain. Hidden sources most people miss: packaged fruit juice, flavored yogurt, bottled sauces, mass-produced bread. A carton of carrot juice from a grocery shelf often contains as much sugar as a can of soda. Read labels. Monosodium glutamate and similar flavor enhancers. They disrupt sodium-water balance at the cellular level. Cells retain more sodium. Sodium pulls water with it. Chronic low-level fluid retention throughout the tissues results. Where are these found? Chips, crackers, fast food, frozen meals, packaged soups, instant broths. Essentially the majority of the center grocery aisle. Dairy. For a significant portion of people, the primary protein in cow's milk triggers chronic low-grade gut inflammation. That inflammation contributes to fluid retention throughout the body. If swollen, heavy legs are persistent for you, try eliminating dairy for 3 to 4 weeks. Your body will give you a clear answer. What to add instead? Cranberries, horsetail herb, parsley, celery, cucumber, watermelon. These support kidney function and help the body clear excess fluid naturally. Step 4. Clear the abdominal obstructions. If your legs stay heavy despite movement and hydration, this step is likely the missing piece. The technique is called visceral massage, manual mobilization of the abdominal organs, performed either with a trained practitioner or with proper guidance at home. Gentle clockwise circular pressure over the lower abdomen improves intestinal motility and reduces pressure on the iliac vessels. Gentle pressure just below the right rib margin, and then the left, addresses the cecum and sigmoid colon areas where vein compression most commonly occurs. Slow sustained pressure just under the rib margin on a full exhale addresses diaphragm tension and restores its range of motion, which restores the breathing-driven suction effect that assists venous return. These changes are slow. Adhesions that took years to form do not dissolve in a week, but they do respond to consistent daily attention. And once mechanical obstacles begin to clear, everything else in this plan becomes significantly more effective. Step 5. Rebuild the vein wall from the inside. While you address mechanical causes, you also need to give your vessel walls the raw materials to stay resilient. Vitamin D. Get tested. The test is called 25-hydroxyvitamin D. Optimal range is 50 to 100 nanomoles per liter. If you are below that, work with your doctor to correct it under supervision. This is not optional maintenance. It is structural repair. Bioflavonoids. These plant compounds directly reinforce the vein wall, reduce its permeability, and lower vascular inflammation. The best food sources: blueberries, tart cherries, black currants, citrus fruits, buckwheat. The 2 most widely prescribed pharmaceutical vein-strengthening medications in Europe are derived directly from bioflavonoid compounds. Getting them from whole food sources produces better absorption than supplements alone. Chapter 4. Full Action Plan. Summary. Here is everything laid out clearly. Water, 30 milliliters per kilogram of body weight, every day. Add turmeric to warm food. Drink ginger lemon tea sipped throughout the day. Daily habits, not occasional additions. Food, reduce sugar. Eliminate MSG and ultra-processed packaged foods. Trial a dairy-free period if swelling is persistent. Add cranberries, parsley, celery, cucumber, and watermelon for natural fluid clearance. Movement, sumo squats, standard squats, calf raises to the burn point, 3 times daily minimum. Stand and move every hour. Walk 30 to 40 minutes every day. Take every set of stairs available to you. Abdominal work. If legs remain heavy despite the above, investigate the mechanical obstructions. Work on the groin, intestinal, and diaphragm areas daily through visceral massage. This is slow work. Do it consistently. Nutrient baseline. Test vitamin D. Correct it if low, with your doctor. Eat bioflavonoid-rich foods every day. Warning sign. If a vein becomes hard, cord-like, painful to press, with red warm skin over it, see a doctor the same day and request a vascular ultrasound. Heavy, tired legs are not something you simply accept because you are over 50. They have causes. Those causes are specific, and they are addressable. The process can be slowed. In earlier stages, it can be genuinely reversed, but only if you work on the system that produced the problem, not just the symptom you can feel. Everything here is for your information and education. Your health picture is individual. The most useful conversation you can have is with a clinician who knows your full history. How old are you? Leave your age in the comments. It shapes what recommendations are most relevant for where you are right now, and it helps build future content around the people who are actually here. If this video gave you something real, subscribe and leave a like. That is how this channel reaches more people. The goal is 200,000 subscribers, and every person who subscribes moves it forward.